We pose this challenge.
قناة جايد أس التلفزيونية الفضائية.
The programs and the channel are all dedicated to true faith, what it is, why we need it, how we use it in today's world, in simple English, 24 hours a day, right here on Guidance TV. This is Yusuf Estes for Guidance TV, bidding you peace. Salam. Salam alaikum.
ووظف الشيخ يوسف.
And we're coming to you almost live from our studios right here in Southern California. Why do we say almost live? Well, if you've known our programs in the past, you'd say, well, it's almost live. Anyway, we have a delay of about 30 to 60 seconds every single time we go live because of the, what do they call it? Anyway, something that's a delay, a fancy word for the word delay. Anyway, so we have a guest with us tonight that we've had several nights in a row, and we'd love to have him. And here's Abu Hafsa. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, I messed up again.
You're going to become the host.
Yeah. All right. Why does it? It keeps going
there you go. I think that's it.
It keeps going to something else. All right. I don't know why. It's supposed to go over to something. Our guest. Nope. I guess it's not going to work tonight. So we can just hear you.
Welcome to my world. Salam alaikum.
MashaAllah.
That's kind of poetic since that's all I get most of the time anyways. I get to hear stuff. Now y'all just get to hear me. It's radio shit. This is Guidance Radio. Well, I'm glad to be here anyway. I'm glad that this guest hasn't become a pest. Not yet. Alhamdulillah. I guess that's a good thing. It's Tuesday, and mashallah, what do we want to talk about, Sheikh? the miracle of radio. You want to?
I don't know what to do right now. Yeah, we are very limited in what we're doing right now. So
we're just zooming along. It's that's it. We're zooming along, and mashallah, get guided. You're watching some vintage dollars.
All right.
This ain't a stream, it's a trickle.
I'm trying.
There are streams, there are trickles.
I'm still trying to work it out, but I guess that's.
I know. I'm trying to work it with you. I'm not sure what I can do on my side. We were good until we weren't. Before the whole thing started, we were good. MashaAllah.
I'm going to try to put a picture of you up in place of you because I did take a picture of it, and I don't know that that's going to work. But yeah,
good profile there. Get a good shot of my.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can do this right.
Well, I can. That is something.
All right. I think I can do this. Hopefully, I'll put a picture of you there anyway. So I don't know what else to do, but let me see.
My lights are on and stuff.
Oh, I can see you, but the people can't.
Oh.
So.
Well, that's all right.
Okay. I'm going to try to put a picture of you here on this. Wait a minute. You are coming on that. Well, this also does the same thing. I don't know what to do. I can see a picture of you and me together, and when I switch it, it's a black screen. And when I switch to you, it's a black screen. I don't know what to do.
Get guided.
All right. Okay.
You show me that, no problem.
I don't think he's on there. I'm going to try to put something up. Ah, there. I do have a picture of you, of what you look like tonight, but it's a static.
قناة Guide Us التلفزيونية.
And now I'm getting all the
static going around.
Let's see if I can. They changed how it works. You know, if something's not broke, they always want to change it.
Well, yeah.
Make it fixed. Yeah. Anyway.
You know, it's funny when people are broke, they don't want to fix them. You know, they don't fix them broke.
All right. I got your picture on there so you can start talking.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we are on. It's a Tuesday night. It's December the 5th. Oh, I'm not supposed to timestamp things, are I? It's Tuesday night though, mashallah, and we are in a bit of a crisis, aren't we, Sheikh?
Well,
a bit of an issue with the.
I do have you lined up there. Okay, I got to take a picture of the frame and put that on the guest. Okay, let's. Oh no, that didn't work either. All right, let's try this.
This can be like a Zoom class. You can upload it as a tutorial. People can learn.
Okay, well, now I'm trying to figure out how to put this frame in here.
I'm being framed on.
You're being framed. Ah, now I got the frame on you. Ah, you're framed out.
Is the frame on? I've been framed, Your Honor. I've been framed.
All right, now.
I didn't do it. I was in Albuquerque.
Yeah. As far as you know, you're live.
I'm live. I'm live. I'm live with the news. You want to hear the news?
I would like to introduce a book. Have you heard about this book? It's called La Tahzan.
La Tahzan. To not be sad? Sure.
Don't be sad. Yeah, that's exactly what it says. Don't be sad. And it's La Tahzan because it was written in the Arabic language by Dr. Aid Al-Qarni. And it is such an amazing book that I've taken the opportunity one time when the book first came out, they had a display of it on one of the shows that I was on. What is it? ICNA or Mass ICNA. Anyway, a brother grabbed me as I was trying to go up to the podium, and he said, I want you to talk to this guy. He's very interested in Islam. And I said, you have all of these books here. He said, he doesn't want to read a book. He wants to know and ask questions. I said, I got to walk up that. And then I realized that he had that new book out. So I said, let me give him this book and I'll pay you for it later. He said, no, I'll pay for it. So we gave him the book, and the man sat down there right there on the spot and reading it. And this is a translation to the English language. And when he put it down, about 30 minutes later, he wasn't really into the book yet, but 30 minutes, he was probably on page 100 or something like that. And he said, I want to accept Islam. So, yeah, I think it's a very powerful book. Not as powerful as the Quran, but this is, because this book actually quotes people that are Muslims or have been Muslims in the past. They, passed away, rahimahullah. And anyway, so it quotes the Quran and it quotes the Hadith as maybe you would expect a scholar to do. But then he goes on to quote different people who became Muslims, and then he even quotes some of the people that did not become Muslims, but they said good things, and he quotes that. And he tells where he got it from and so on. And some of the scholars criticized him over that because they said, well, you quoted somebody that was not a Muslim. And he said, well, hopefully they will become Muslim, or hopefully that what they said was good. And some of the people just go off on that. But what is your take on that subject?
Well, Islam is, now we have a situation where that book is actually needed, and books like it are needed. Oftentimes we look at and think of God as tyrannical, that doesn't love us really, that doesn't really care about us. As growing up as, I guess, a confused Catholic, that's what you're taught, that you're going to be punished, and you're going to be, even for your thoughts, even for your deeds, and it can make you quite sad. It can make you really lose hope. And here comes Islam, and of course Allah Ta'ala revealed it correctly always, all the time. It's just that people kind of mess with it and meddle with it. But now, when Allah revealed it finally in the final testament, as you call it, Quran, we're taught that Allah loves us more than the love of the best mother on the planet. Allah loves you more than that. Allah cares for you more than that. So that when just that alone would make you happy, would make you think, well, this is a God who loves me. One of Allah's names is Al-Wadud. Al-Wadud. We weren't really taught that. We were taught things like God so loved the world he gave his only begotten son. That's what we were taught. And then you're taught that you're supposed to still be afraid of him because he's going to punish you for having bad thoughts, even though someone else is supposedly had taken the bill for you. So alhamdulillah, when it comes to Islam,
that fascinates me, that if somebody's going to pay the bill for me, oh, why do I have to worry about what I buy or purchase?
Yeah, you just go for it. But this is not what we're taught in Islam either. There's, two extremes of way too much fear to where it becomes silly, because you're never going to get what never going to get close to Allah because of that. And then there's the other extreme where it's too much to where it's inconsequential. So it doesn't matter what you do. We're taught to not be sad. We're taught to go forward and worship Allah to the best of our abilities. And of course, there's numbers of ayat in the Quran that talk about not despairing of the mercy of Allah. And Jannah is a place where sadness doesn't exist anymore, and so where no one will be sad in the Jannah. Here, you're full of things that can make you sad, and you're full of things that can make you happy, or give you a certain amount of both, I should say. A certain amount of sadness and a certain amount of happiness. Ultimate sadness isn't here, and ultimate happiness isn't here.
Can I read a couple verses, a couple of lines from the book?
Sure, love
it. Yeah. Don't be sad. That's what I'm reading from, if you just tuned in. And it says, O Allah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it says, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Ya Allah, whosoever is in the heavens and on earth begs of him. every day he has a matter to bring forth, such as giving honor to some, disgracing some, life to some, death to some. And that's a reality. That's a big reality already. Then back to the book. When there is a violent storm and the seas are turbulent, the occupants of the boat call out, Ya Allah, O God, O God, O God. When the camel driver and the caravan are lost in the desert, they call out, O God, Ya Allah, O God, Ya Allah. When disaster and calamity occur, the afflicted, those who are afflicted, always call out, O God, O Allah. Even non-believers call out, Ya Allah. And if you don't believe that, if somebody falls off of a ladder, they'll say, Oh God. If somebody falls out of an airplane, they'll say, Oh God. And an atheist will never say, Oh, nothing. Is that right?
Darwin. Oh, Darwin.
Well, actually, Darwin did not say that he didn't believe in God. He never said that. Actually, he questioned how did God do this or that or something.
Sure.
But he actually was not an atheist. The atheist jumped on that at the time that it came out, and they made it look like that he was an atheist, but he wasn't. Anyway,
yeah, they kind of hang on his beliefs, I guess, or on his
his
questions.
His beliefs are correct because the animals did change. Animals did change. The birds on the I saw something in October 1998. October 1998, I was watching the channel, what's it called? The channel for public broadcasting or something like that. Anyway, they had a thing about that. That was the time of El Nino. Do you remember El Nino or not?
El Nino? Sure. Was it like 90?
Nino.
I'm wondering what this boy did. El Nino. I'm like, what did the boy do? But yeah.
Yeah. So this was about the very islands that he visited. And when Darwin came up with his theory of evolution, he was talking about some birds that were different from other birds on other islands, and their shape. They were not alike, but they were from the same genre. So this bird has a beak that's bent. That bird on the other island is a straight beak. And he theorized evolution. But all of these birds were alive at the same time. So they didn't evolve exactly like he thought. Because when the El Nino came through and the eggs were laying there on these same islands, these birds laid eggs after the Nino came in, and what hatched out, their beaks were different from the different atmospheres and the things that they had going on, because some of the vegetables or fruits or whatever, or nuts, whatever the bird ate, were not available. And Allah made it so that when the birds were hatched out of their eggs, they already had the wherewithal to be able to eat and so on.
Yeah, mashallah. Allah yakhluqu ma yasha. Allah creates things as He wills, and that's the mashallah. We don't believe necessarily that we came from baboons or anything, but things change over time and atmosphere.
Well, the point that I'm trying to drive home here is the animals have evolved, okay? But a giraffe didn't evolve into an alligator. A snake didn't evolve into a bird. The fish didn't evolve into some kind of a mosquito.
Sure.
So there is evolution in the species, the changes, the change in atmosphere, the change in the environment. So Allah changes these animals to adapt to their circumstance.
Sure.
And that makes sense because one of the names of Allah is Al-Khari, the creator.
Al-Khaliq.
Al-Khaliq, yes, the creator.
Al-Khaliq al-Musawwir. Also al-Musawwir, the
But he's also the evolver. The Al-Bari means the one who changes the things.
Oh, that, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so he does change things or evolve them to be something else. So that's one of his names. The evolver, the creator. He created something and then he changed it. And then he changed it again because of the atmosphere and because of the things that they were involved with and so on. So he does what he wills. It doesn't make any difference to me. Personally, I think an elephant is just right the way it is. And a giraffe is right where it is. And dogs and cats and so on are, smaller. But if they were bigger, maybe I would have a different opinion, but...
Well, imagine if we did have flying reindeer, how messy the world would be.
Oh, no, don't go there. Please, don't go there.
I was just saying, if the world had 8 flying reindeer, there'd be some messy places afoot. Underfoot.
I've seen stuff on the windshield of the car from a bird, and I don't want to see anything from a reindeer.
No, they'll be pretty bad.
Anyway, so I'll go back to the book, and it says, when a disaster or calamity occur, always the afflicted people will call out, "Oh God."
Yeah.
When doors are shut before those who seek to enter, and they go through the doors, and barriers are placed in front of those in need, they all cry out, "Ya Allah." Now, guess what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the disasters that we've seen, the calamities that we've heard about coming out of Gaza. And all of the places that were affected, whether it was the Jewish people or the Muslim people, all of them were affected. However, this is something that the people have seen on the results. They could not imagine seeing people saying, "Ya Allah, oh Allah, it's from you and we accept that." And they could not get their head around that. And a lot of them became Muslims because of that. They said, these people are actually doing something we've never even thought about, to actually acknowledge that there is a hereafter and these children are in the hereafter. And one of the things that I saw a few days ago, was so heart-wrenching because the little girl had her leg blown off. And a grandfather, it looked like a grandfather or something, he was telling her, "Oh, congratulations." Now, how could anybody say that? And he said, "Your leg is already waiting for you in the paradise." Oh, that's great. You are a customer for paradise. And he was telling her like this. So she was getting excited. "I'm going to go to paradise?" "Well, yeah, your leg is already there. Well, how are you going to get by with yeah, you have to be in paradise." So it really cheered her up. It made her feel so good. And we do believe that that leg is waiting for her in paradise, and she will have a beautiful body, beautiful legs, and everything. And she will be in paradise, inshallah, God willing.
Inshallah. And that's just it. Like, that's how we think about. I mean, whenever things get difficult with my own eyesight, my own situation, you have to remember that this is. If you're patient with it, if you're grateful to Allah and you're patient with that, then my eyes, her leg, most of the people, whatever it is, their issue, your loved ones that may pass away, that if they died on Islam, then all of them and all of that will be waiting for you in a better place where there's no separation again, where there's no separation anymore, and there's no one losing their legs and blindness in the Jannah. No one's dying there, no one's leaving, but this place, you just have to get through it. Get through it with the worship of Allah and the good deeds that we have to do accordingly. And Allah doesn't hate us if we do that. Even though that Allah isn't cruel or unjust or oppressive in any way. In fact, Allah multiplies your deeds for you and makes them more than you ever could. Your 5 daily salah is worth 50.
I think the people
And couldn't be
Gaza. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. What did you say?
I said it could also be more than those numbers that Allah has given us. I'm sorry, I stopped. I was interrupted.
Okay, so I think the people in Gaza, they're really good Muslims because they have followed what the Quran tells us and what the Hadith tells us, that really there is a paradise and there is also a hellfire. So I'm going to continue reading this. This is just a page here. It said, when all the plans end in failure and all hope is lost and the path becomes constricted, they call out, Ya Allah, O Allah, O Allah. When the earth, vast and wide though it is squeezed for you, causing your soul to feel constricted, call out, O Allah, O Allah. Do that. It says, to Allah ascend all good words, the sincere supplications, the tears of the innocent, the invocations of the afflicted. Hands and eyes are extended to him in times of hardship and misfortune. The tongue chants, cries out, and mentions his names. The heart finds peace, the soul finds rest, the nerves are relaxed, the intellect is awakened. These are all achieved when we remember Almighty God, Allah, Subhanallah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala. How perfect he is, the exalted. And then he quotes the Quran, and it's saying, this is a translation, Allah is very gracious and kind to his slaves. Now, I want to talk about the word slaves here. We are all volunteer slaves of Almighty Allah. Is that right?
That's it. That's it. Voluntary servitude to the only one deserving of it. Alhamdulillah.
And with that, we have to know that you could change anytime you want to. If you don't want to be a slave to Allah, then you can change and you will be a slave to the dunya, this world, this life. And this would be very miserable for anybody if they just would know about the paradise. If they just realize that the paradise is real and it's not a joke, it's not a fairyland, it's not playing the harps or something like that. It's a very real place.
No, it's a place that we have to look forward to, and it's a place that we have to sometimes have to really think about and have to focus on to get you through this place. If you think about your life as such, as a day in the month of Ramadan, sometimes you have a day where it's hot and it can get very difficult, and you have to just remember that just like Maghrib will come, the end of it will come, the end of this will come, your problems will eventually be over. They will eventually turn into something good, and eventually they may even be tested along the way again. But this place is very temporary and very temporal in nature, and that it doesn't last very long. It may seem like it. If you're an 80 years old person, then 85 doesn't seem very old anymore. But if you're 10, it certainly does. It's just a matter of how you look at this place. And it's always like that. When you're a little kid, everyone tells you how young you are and how long you have to live. But Allah knows best that kids are dying in Gaza all day, every day. May Allah give them Jannah and reunite them with their parents. But then you get older and then they tell you that, well, you don't have as many days left as you think you do. Well, I'm only 65. What happens in the next 30 years when they tell me that? And it's just a matter of perspective, man. Eventually, all matters and all people that matter and all those issues and everything goes back to Allah. And it's not to be sad. It's to do the best that you can and depend on the one who helps you with what you do and what you don't.
I think that is a very good wrap up for this portion of our program. Now we take a break and we'll be right back right after this. Guys, just stay tuned and stay guided, and we'll try to do the same thing. Okay, that didn't work.
وقناة Guide Us التلفزيونية الفضائية.
The programs and the channel are all dedicated to true faith, what it is, why we need it, how we use it in today's world, in simple English, 24 hours a day, right here on Guidance TV. This is Yusuf Estes, the Guidance TV, bidding you peace. Salam. Salam alaikum.
ووظف الشيخ يوسف التكنولوجيا في عمله الدعوي من خلال المواقع الإلكترونية، مستخدما اللغة الإنجليزية بشكل مبسط وممتع لضمان سهولة فهمها من قبل الحضور، بالإضافة إلى استشهاده بالقرآن والتعاليم الإسلامية خلال حديثه.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. لا إله إلا الله محمد.
All right, now we are back and we're talking about a book. It's called Don't Be Sad. That's the translation of it. It's La Tahzan. La Tahzan. Don't be sad. And we're talking about this, and it has some of the things that are really relevant to today's world. And it says, I'm turning to page 35 now, just randomly looking at it. He said, remember the favors of Allah upon you. Almighty God has given you favors. What are they? And how they surround you from above and below. Indeed, from every direction. Now he quotes the Quran. And this is a translation of it, as I said before. And if you would count the graces of Allah, never would you be able to count them all. That's in Quran 14, that chapter 14, which is Surah Abraham, Surah Ibrahim, verse 34. It says, and it's back to him talking about this, he said, health, safety, nourishment, clothing, air, and water. These all point to the world being yours, yet you don't realize it. You possess all the life has to offer, yet you remain ignorant. Then he quotes the Quran again, chapter 31, which is Rome? No, that's the one after that. Anyway, verse 20. It says, do you not see Allah has made subject to you whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth, and amply bestowed upon you his favors, apparent and unapparent. Then he goes to quoting somebody and he says, you have at your disposal 2 eyes, a tongue, lips, 2 hands, and 2 legs. Then which of the favors of your Lord will you both deny? Now, that we are talking with our brother who was born without eyes. So let's check that out and ask him, what is your take on that? Do you regret anything or have a doubt about this?
Well, one of the things that he learned really quickly about not having eyesight and not having eyes in general, and if you don't learn it, it's going to be very difficult. And that how you feel about it isn't going to really change it. Right? Like, you can be really upset, and all of a sudden, you're not going to just have eyes just because you think you deserve them and because you're mad about not having them. There's just certain things that you're going to have to deal with. Now, atheism tells us, tough, too bad, so sad, you just ended up on the wrong side of it, and then you just have to live with that and die with that. Islam gives us options. Like you said earlier, that the young girl's leg, if she's patient, she believes in Allah, she's patient, she'll get that back in the Jannah. It's waiting for her there. So similarly, someone who's born without their eyesight or born without their eyes are waiting for them. They don't not exist. They exist. They just don't have, you're just not with them right now. And of course, then you can't forget about the other things that Allah has given you: hearing, intellect, and above all else, the ability to remember Him. I mean, imagine how it would be if you didn't have that. All your problems and all your issues and all the different stuff that you need help with, and you don't know who's actually going to help you with that. That would be, I think, a far worse issue than not having eyes.
We have a phone call. Yeah, we do have a phone call. Okay.
To tell you how this picture is frozen.
Yes, that is not a frozen picture. That is a picture I put up of him. If you tuned into the beginning of the program, you'd know that I can't do whatever. So, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I missed the first minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
You missed all of the good stuff. Yeah, we have a picture of him. It is not a frozen picture. He's not freezing.
It is Canada, though.
It is Canada. Okay, are you cold?
No, we're not cold yet. I mean, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, the blessings of having 4 walls is a huge blessing as well. You might not have 2 eyes, but you have 4 walls, and that's great.
All right. So we were talking.
What you have is a lot more fun than thinking about what you don't. And I think that's what I was trying to say in a very short way, but it got longer than I thought.
I think that is a very good point, because let's look at it again and think about what it was saying. It was saying you have 2 eyes, but you don't. But you do have 2 legs, and you have a tongue and lips and 2 hands and 2 legs. So what the heck?
I mean, there are some people that would probably have me trade in some of them other things. I'll tell you that right now. Some people aren't happy that I haven't taught me 2 lips that I can talk the way I do. But alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, and then it says you have at your disposal these things that Allah gave you. So what are you going to do with it? And that's, he asks the question, how can you picture yourself walking without feet? You should take it should you take it lightly, that you slumber soundly while misery hinders the sleep of many. And now he's getting into the part where we think about other people. This is something really, really important for us, to have the compassion and the wherewithal to consider other people's disappointments or things that they're challenged with in this life. And I think that is really important. You talked about wrestling several times to me, and when you told me about you were wrestling with sighted people, is that right?
Yeah, sure. I wrestled with sighted people. I went to wrestling school with sighted people. And I wrestled in high school and middle school with and against sighted people, certainly.
And you said that the one thing that you couldn't get over was, or something like that, somebody would clothesline you or put their arm out, and you walk into that or get hung up on that. You
learn how to navigate, and you learn where the center mass of the body is, and you learn that by hearing. So you can avoid clotheslines like that, and that used to be the way of it. Where if someone would swing, now I'm probably not as good as I used to be. When I was a little kid, I was better. That if someone could swing, I'd hear the shadow of that and be able to dodge or be able to move out of the way if I was paying attention. That comes from having a mom that swings at you. That's where that comes from. Gee. I think that's where that comes from. So you translate, that into wrestling.
You were raised by your mother and your grandmother, is that right?
Well, my mother mainly. My mother and my stepdad. My grandmother I visit in the summertime. But yeah, when I was really young, I'd see a lot more of my grandmother than I did when I was older. So, mashallah, I spent time with her as well.
Tell us what it was like when your grandmother would call you into the house. You were out there playing in the dirt or something.
Well, they would, if you wouldn't listen, she could throw a stone at you. Like, she could literally throw a rock at you. Not a head cracker, not a huge rock like that, but like, you'd get a clip from a pebble, and you'd have to pay attention every now and again. That didn't happen often, but it did happen when she'd pelt her.
She threw pebbles at you, man.
Were you stoned as a kid? Well, kind of, in the way. Grandma used to throw rocks at me. So that was the way of it. You learn to kind of stay out of the way of people when you're a skinny kid that wants to be a wrestler. You grow up with that, and you just navigate. You wrestle sighted people and you wrestle blind people because you kind of. How far are you going to get wrestling blind people? You can't. You have to eventually learn how to defend yourself against someone who can see. And it didn't always end well, but it didn't always end badly. Alhamdulillah, I whooped some and I got whooped by some.
Earlier I mentioned something about the author of the book, Don't Be Sad, and we're talking about that. So I would like to come back to the subject of, he's quoting different people that were not necessarily Muslim. And one of the things that he quoted was a person's attitude on being told that he was going to die by the doctors. And he says, they insinuated, the doctors told him it would be wise for him to make the funeral arrangements because he was going to die. And suddenly, Hani, that's his name, Hani, the patient, made a spontaneous decision. He thought to himself, what if I have a little time left to live? Why not enjoy it to the utmost? Rain on the... the idea of the funeral? Why should I get that? He said, how often have I wished to travel to the world before I die? This certainly is a chance for me to realize my dreams. So he bought a ticket, and the doctors became aware of his plans. They were shocked. They said, we most strongly remonstrate with you and warn you, if you go forward with this journey, you will be buried at the bottom of the ocean. Their arguments were in vain. He only answered, no, nothing of the sort will happen. I have promised my relatives that I will come back to be buried in the family plot. And they didn't give up on that. They kept talking to him about this, and he just went on his trip of mirth and joy. He used the word mirth.
Mirth.
Yes. He wrote to his wife saying, I eat the most delectable of dishes on this cruise ship. He was on a cruise ship. He said, I read poetry. I eat tasty, fatty foods that I have never done before. I always refrain from it. He said, I have enjoyed life during this period more than any time in my entire life previously. And he's saying it like that.
He wrote to his wife?
And Dale Carnegie is the one who is quoting this. He said, the author of this book said, Dale Carnegie claimed the man became cured of his sickness, and the energizing path he took was one that is successfully defeating disease and pain. That was written by Dale Carnegie. I don't know if you have been familiar with him, but in my time, we looked forward to anything that Dale Carnegie said because he wrote the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. We have Richard Kiefer on the line here. Let's talk to him. Richard, how are you?
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
You're a busy man. You're traveling all over the world. I hardly ever get a chance to catch up with you.
I'm sitting at home now. MashaAllah.
Good. That's great. That is great. Well, it's good to see you and our brother from Canada. I haven't seen him in a long time either. He was in Columbus, Ohio last time we saw him.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
yeah.
I'm trying to put you up on the screen so that people can see you. That's Richard Kiefer. He was a preacher of Christianity for over 40 years, 43 years or 42 years?
Over 43, yep.
43, mashallah.
Yes, yep.
So you're watching the program tonight, huh?
I am. I was scrolling through and it's like, hey, I know those people. It's just great to see.
Have you heard about the book, Don't Be Sad?
I just heard you talk about it. And,
yeah, I think that's a very good book for everybody, not just Muslims, but anybody that reads that can take heart in it, because Dale Carnegie is quoted in here and others, and the Quran is quoted, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is quoted, and he quotes a lot of really energetic people that are saying very positive things. I think that this is one of the greatest books. And I explained earlier in the program that one day I was at a big event. I think it was Mass ICNA in Chicago, but anyway, I was walking up to the stage, to the podium, to give a lecture, and somebody grabbed me and they said, "Oh, we have a man here who wants to know about Islam." And I said, "Oh, well, okay, you got all these books." And he said, "Oh, he wants to talk to somebody." And I said, "Okay." I spotted the book. It just came out, and that was years ago. And I spotted that, and I said, that is the book right there that I really would like people to see and hear. And so let's give it to him. And so we did. And the man read it and listened to what I was saying up on the stage. And in a half hour, he said, "I want to be a Muslim." So, mashallah.
Yes. That is awesome that happened. And the emphasis is kind of a nice combination of not only the written that was there in front of him and even the quotations from the Holy Quran, but he needed to hear from a real live Muslim and just explaining a few things. And I know in my experiences, the guy who led me to Islam, he was the first Muslim I think I ever talked to that I'm aware of. Definitely, I know it was the first time I ever talked to somebody about Islam. And all of a sudden, you put a face with the message, and it's like, well, he looks like a normal person. He doesn't look like a terrorist.
How many terrorists have you actually met in your life? From the Muslims. From the Muslims.
There's none. I've never met a single one. Every time there's. Let's ask Abu Hafsa if he's met any terrorists. You've traveled all over the world, and you've been to Africa, and so certainly you must have met some of the Muslim terrorists.
No, I don't think I ever have. I've never met them. I met a few bill collectors that terrorized me, but they weren't terrorists either. I've never met a terrorist in my life.
Were they Muslims?
Nope, they were not.
Okay, so
no, I've not met a Muslim terrorist. No.
I've never met somebody who even indicated. I met some of the people that I had doubts about in other areas, like what were they doing with the money, like that. But never anybody even talked to me about being a terrorist or that's.
I never used to get picked for baseball, so I didn't think I'd get picked for that either. I never used to get picked for baseball or football or anything else, so why would I get picked for that?
I did watch you. We talked about this before. I watched you on a video throw a basketball over 40 feet away, and it went slam dunk.
I don't know about 40 feet away. It was a few feet. 40 feet's a lot, but it was a few feet away. Mashallah.
No, it was. You were very far away from it.
Alhamdulillah. That was cool. We did that over a day. Sometimes it just goes in. You touch the rim and you guesstimate and you say Bismillah and the shot goes in sometimes. Now the 18 that I missed didn't make the cut, but the 2 that I did certainly.
Well, they only showed
they only showed the good parts. Right?
Yeah,
they showed the 20 that I missed on the way.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to talk about that, but it being you did.
Oh, there's no work in my dawah. There's no work. I'll tell you the hidden parts that I probably shouldn't. It's probably bad, but ain't no work in my dawah. I shot 18 of them that didn't go in, and I filmed the 2 that did, and may Allah allow us to benefit.
Well, we got Richard on the phone here, and I think that Richard, you really need to call in and maybe even get back on the show with us. What do you think?
Happy to do that. Happy to do that.
All right.
Looking up here, you can talk about the terrorists. There's been in 2023, there were 305 school shootings of children in the United States.
Oh my
Not a
God.
one of them was a Muslim. Not a one of them was a Muslim.
Oh my God.
We forget.
In Muslim countries, they never ever had anybody go into the schools and shoot anybody.
Don't we have Israel bombing them though, and that's
Well, yeah, they had bombs dropped on them.
Israel. Yeah,
And the
Israel does that.
schools
That's
blow it
what
up, hospitals, but that's not a
it's not a Muslim thing.
it's not a Muslim thing. Let's leave it at that. Yeah.
No, none of the terrorists that do these horrible things to kids, they're not Muslims. They're just plain old white guys.
I don't know, Richard. Maybe you remember, but I know Abu Hafsa is not old enough. The very first time that somebody in Pasadena, Texas, he poisoned the food of the Halloween trick-or-treaters, and he gave it to his own kids so that they would die. And that was found out later, but they always blamed somebody that not known for that, but then it turned out that he did it himself to kill his own kids. Did you know that?
Well, I did not know that. I know when I was a kid, we went out trick or treating, and we went out and spent several hours running from house to house, and never gave it a thought to somebody's poisoning, and then all of a sudden, things like that happened, or they found some apples with razor blades and crazy stuff, and now all of a sudden.
I think one of the big problems we had was that it made so much news that people picked up on that and started putting things into the trick-or-treat candies, and just like a lot of people saw that, there's a thing about people going into schools and killing the children. And some people, I think that the devil himself was inspiring those kids to do that, or people to do that. But in Texas, I saw that there were so many times that they would get scared and sometimes even have shots fired and even killing people, teachers, and random people. And then they would turn the gun on themselves and kill themselves. I don't know what. I'm sure that was the devil. What do you think?
No question. They listened to the whispers of Shaitan and carried out their missions of terror. And it's happened so many places with so many kids. And God is the author of life.
Yes.
And this whole thing of killing people is evil. And,
yes, it is.
It's just so sad.
If somebody is listening to us right now, we got to go off the air, but I want to make this clear. If there's a voice in your ear telling you kill yourself or do something to yourself that it's bad, immediately pick up the phone and dial 911 if that is the case, because you need somebody to talk to you right away, and be calm, and don't, that voice is not you. That voice is the devil himself telling you to kill yourself, because he knows if you do that, you'll be in hell forever with him.
Michael Hart in The 100, a ranking.